Commander Alan Pierce stared at the viewing screen as the colony ship Resilience drifted through the darkness of space. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, his uniform wrinkled from days of wear. The ship hummed softly around him, carrying the last remnants of humanity. 5,000 souls who had escaped Earth's destruction. "Commander, you need to rest," said Olivia Martinez, touching his shoulder gently. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, her face showing the same exhaustion that plagued them all. "How can I rest when they're all gone, Olivia?" Alan whispered. 7 billion people, our entire world, gone in a flash. 3 weeks had passed since the attack. The Nalvaran warships had appeared without warning, their planet-killer weapons turning Earth's oceans to steam and its cities to ash in mere hours. The Resilience had barely escaped, one of only a handful of ships to make it out of the solar system. "Vega, replay the message again," Alan ordered, his voice hollow. The ship's AI responded immediately, playing Galactic Council broadcast captured during Earth's final moments. A hologram appeared before them. An alien figure with scaled skin and multiple eyes spoke in a cold, measured tone, its words translated by Vega's systems. The species, known as humans, has been deemed too unpredictable for integration into galactic society. Their rapid technological advancement, combined with their violent tendencies, presents an unacceptable risk to the stability of this sector. The Council has voted. Earth is to be removed as a necessary sacrifice for the greater harmony. Alan's fists clenched as the message ended. They didn't even warn us, didn't give us a chance to speak for ourselves. "Sir," called Marcus Johnson from his security station. The big man's normally calm face looked troubled. "We're picking up an unknown ship approaching, not Nalvaran design." Everyone on the bridge tensed. They had no weapons that could stand against advanced alien technology. If this was another council race coming to finish the job, they were doomed. "Put it on screen," Alan ordered, straightening his uniform. The viewing screen changed to show a sleek vessel, its hull a deep blue that seemed to shift colors as it moved. It was clearly built for speed, but showed no obvious weapons. "They're hailing us," Marcus said. Alan nodded. "Let's hear what they have to say before they kill us." The screen flickered and a new alien appeared. This one had smooth, pale skin with faint patterns of light moving beneath the surface. 4 arms were folded in front of its chest in what seemed like a greeting. "Survivors of Earth," the alien spoke, its voice melodic. "I am Ambassador Zora of the Kavaran people. We have been monitoring the situation. We offer our deepest condolences for your loss." Alan stared at the screen, suspicion clear on his face. "Why would you care about Earth? Are you part of the council that destroyed our world?" Zora's face displayed what might have been sadness. "No, Commander. The Kavarans were once like you. 300 years ago, the council declared our homeworld unfit to exist. We survived only because a small group had established colonies beyond our system." The alien paused. "We have lived in hiding since that day, building our strength, developing our technology. We know the pain you feel." Olivia stepped forward. "If you hate the council, why haven't you attacked them?" "We are not numerous enough," Zora replied. "The council consists of 27 species, each with fleets that span multiple star systems. We have survived by staying hidden, but we have never forgotten, never forgiven." Alan felt a spark of hope for the first time since Earth's destruction. "What are you proposing?" "An alliance," Zora said simply. "We can offer your people sanctuary, resources, technology. In return, we ask that you join our cause. Humans are known throughout the galaxy for their adaptability, their ingenuity in warfare. Together we might achieve what neither of us could alone." Alan looked at Olivia, then at Marcus. Both showed the same mix of caution and hope that he felt. "Vega," Alan said quietly, "what do we know about the Kavarans?" The AI's voice came through a private channel in Alan's earpiece. "Limited information, Commander. They were believed to be extinct. Their technological capabilities were said to be advanced, particularly in the fields of energy manipulation and biological engineering." Alan addressed the alien again. "You're Asking us to trust you when trust in aliens is what got our planet destroyed. No, Zora corrected. Blind trust is dangerous. I'm asking you to make a calculated decision. Your ship's supplies will last perhaps another month. Your people need food, medicine, a place to rebuild. We can provide that. The ambassador's image shifted as it manipulated something off-screen. I'm sending coordinates to a Cavaran outpost. It is 3 days' journey at your current speed. Visit us, see what we offer, then decide. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Dr. Samantha Wright, the ship's chief medical officer, spoke up from her station. Commander, many of our people are still in shock. Some are injured. We need supplies, stability. Alan nodded, slowly. Marcus, what's your assessment? The security director frowned. It could be a trap, but if they wanted us dead, they could have attacked already. Our sensors show their ship is far more advanced than ours. Olivia? Alan turned to his chief engineer. She shrugged. The Resilience wasn't built for long-term survival. We're already having issues with the oxygen recyclers. We need help one way or another. Alan walked to the center of the bridge, feeling the weight of responsibility for all the remaining humans. They were looking to him now, waiting for his decision. In his mind, he could still see Earth burning, still hear the screams of those left behind. The Galactic Council had taken everything from them. Set course for the Cavaran outpost, he finally ordered. But remain at high alert. If this is genuine, then perhaps humanity has found an ally. If not, he let the thought hang unfinished. As the Resilience changed course, Alan returned to the viewing screen, gazing at the stars. Somewhere out there was the Galactic Council that had condemned his species to death without a second thought. We're not finished, he whispered, too quietly for anyone else to hear. Earth will be avenged, no matter what it takes. Behind him, Vega silently recorded his words, storing them alongside the complete archives of human history, culture, and knowledge that the AI protected within its memory banks. The last testament of a species that refused to die. 5 years passed since the Resilience found sanctuary with the Cavarans. Hidden deep within an asteroid field on the edge of Cavaran space, the human settlement had grown. What once was a desperate band of survivors had become a community of nearly 10,000. Alan Pierce walked through the main corridor of what they now called Haven Base. The walls, once bare metal, were covered with paintings of Earth landscapes, mountains, oceans, and cities that no longer existed. Children, who had never seen Earth, ran past him laughing. It was both hopeful and painful to see them. Commander Pierce, a voice called. Alan turned to see Dr. Samantha Wright approaching. Her blonde hair was streaked with gray now, a testament to the stress of the past 5 years. Just Alan, remember? We're not on a military ship anymore, he said with a small smile. Old habits, she replied. I have something to show you in the lab. The Nemesis protocol is ready for testing. Alan's expression turned serious. Let's go. They walked to the science section of the base, passing training rooms where humans practiced with weapons that would have seemed magical on Earth. The alliance with the Cavarans had given humanity access to technology centuries beyond what they had known. In the main laboratory, Samantha led Alan to a sealed chamber. Inside was what looked like a small silver sphere floating in mid-air. This is it? Alan asked, studying the object through the glass. Don't let its size fool you, Samantha said. This virus can infiltrate and disable any neural network that uses Council technology. Their ships, weapons, communication systems, all vulnerable. And you're sure it won't be detected? The virus mimics regular data patterns until it activates. By the time they realize what's happening, it will be too late. Alan nodded slowly. Good work, Samantha. This could change everything. From behind them, Olivia Martinez spoke up. We'll need it sooner than expected. She had entered the lab silently, her face grim. The once cheerful engineer had become harder over the years, especially after losing her brother when a small human outpost was discovered and destroyed by Council forces the previous year. What's happened? Alan asked. Marcus just reported in from the outer perimeter. A Council scout ship entered the asteroid field an hour ago. Alan tensed. Have they spotted us? We don't think so, but they're on a course that will bring them close to Haven. Too close. Alert status, Alan ordered. I want the Revenants ready to move. The Revenants were the elite fighting force that Marcus Johnson had been training. Humans enhanced with Cavaran biotech. They possessed strength and reflexes far beyond normal human limits, along with advanced healing abilities. Most had lost family on Earth and volunteered for the dangerous augmentation procedures driven by the desire for vengeance. Within minutes, alarms sounded throughout the base. People moved quickly but calmly to their stations, a far cry from the panic of 5 years ago. These survivors had been preparing for this moment. In the command center, Alan found Marcus already coordinating the response. The security director's left arm was now a Cavaran biomechanical replacement, lost during a previous encounter with Council forces. Status? Alan asked. Marcus pointed to the display showing the asteroid field. The scout ship is here moving slowly. Standard patrol pattern. 20 crew members based on energy readings. Options? We can try to stay hidden and hope they pass by, or we can take the fight to them. Alan considered for a moment. If they report back, the Council might send a larger force to investigate. We can't risk it. My thoughts exactly, Marcus agreed. I have a team ready. The new stealth shuttle can approach without being detected. Who's leading the mission? I am, said a voice from the doorway. They turned to see a woman in combat armor, her face bearing a scar that ran from temple to jaw. It was Catherine Alvarez, once a Marine on Earth, now commander of the Revenants. Alan nodded to her. Quick and clean, Catherine. Disable the ship. Secure the crew. We need to know what they know. Understood, sir. She gave a crisp salute, then left to join her team. The next 2 hours were tense as they monitored the stealth shuttle's approach to the Council vessel. When contact was finally made, the battle was brief but intense. The Revenants, using weapons developed by combining human ingenuity with Cavaran technology, quickly overwhelmed the alien crew. When the captured ship was brought back to Haven, Alan, Samantha, and Olivia went to meet it. The docking bay doors opened to reveal the Revenants escorting 6 aliens in restraints. Their captives had blue-tinged skin and large compound eyes that darted around in fear. Tressarians, Olivia muttered. Council loyalists. Catherine approached, holding a datapad. We secured the ship with minimal damage, 5 casualties on their side, none on ours. But you need to see this. She handed the pad to Alan. As he read, his face darkened. Are you sure this is accurate? Vega confirmed the translation, Catherine said. The ship's log is clear. Alan turned to the others. The Council is developing a new weapon, something that can detect and neutralize human biology across vast distances. If they finish it, any human settlement, no matter how well hidden, would be found and destroyed. A heavy silence fell over the group. How long do we have? Samantha finally asked. Based on these reports, 3 months, maybe less. Olivia's eyes narrowed. Then we stop waiting and hiding. We take the fight to them. Alan looked at the captured aliens, then back at his team. The people who had helped rebuild what remained of humanity after Earth's destruction. They had been preparing for 5 years, developing weapons, training fighters, gathering intelligence. Perhaps it was time. We can't attack the Council directly, he said slowly. They have too many ships, too many worlds, but... He paused, a plan forming. We don't need to defeat their entire military. We just need to stop this weapon. How? Marcus asked. Alan's eyes hardened. We infiltrate Nexus Prime, the Council, headquarters. Find this weapon and destroy it, along with anyone involved in its creation. Infiltrate Nexus Prime? Samantha looked shocked. No non-Council species has ever gotten past their security. Then we'll be the first, Alan said firmly. Olivia, I need you to work with the Cavaran engineers. Find a way to disguise our people as Council members. Samantha, your Nemesis protocol might be the key to getting past their systems. He turned to Catherine. And I need your 3 best Revenants. People who can think on their feet and adapt to any situation. You'll have them, she promised. As the others left to begin preparations, Alan remained with the captured aliens. He approached them slowly, studying their fearful expressions. "Your council took everything from us," he said quietly. "They thought they were ending a threat. Instead, they created one." He turned away, looking out through a viewport at the stars beyond the asteroid field. Somewhere out there was Nexus Prime, the heart of the Galactic Council that had condemned humanity. For 5 years they had been rebuilding, preparing. Now the waiting was over. "The reckoning begins," Alan whispered. Lieutenant Natalie Chen looked at her reflection in the mirror and barely recognized herself. Her skin was now blue-tinged, her eyes replaced with large compound organs that blinked sideways. The genetic modification procedure had been painful, but the result was perfect. She now appeared to be a Trisarian, one of the council races known for their diplomatic skills. "How does it feel?" asked Dr. Samantha Wright, checking Natalie's vital signs on a nearby monitor. "Strange," Natalie replied, her voice deeper and more resonant through her modified vocal cords. "But I can move normally. The extra joints in my arms took some getting used to." Beside her, Gregory Walsh and Dr. Ryan Parker were undergoing final adjustments to their own Trisarian disguises. Gregory had been a computer hacker before Earth's destruction. Now his brain was enhanced with neural interfaces that could connect directly to Council technology. Ryan, an expert in alien biology, would be essential for navigating the complex social customs of the various Council species. Commander Pierce entered the medical bay, his face solemn. "The mission begins in 6 hours. Once you're on Nexus Prime, you'll be on your own. We can't risk any communication that might be detected." "We're ready, sir," Natalie said, standing straighter despite her unfamiliar body. "Your identities are set. You're diplomatic aides from the Trisarian outer colonies, arriving for routine administrative work. The identification codes we extracted from the captured scout ship will get you through initial security." Alan handed each of them a small metallic disc. "These contain the Nemesis protocol virus. Once inside the central network hub, insert them into any console. The virus will do the rest." "How long will we have before they detect it?" Gregory asked. 12 hours, according to our estimates. Your extraction ship will be waiting at these coordinates." Alan showed them a map of Nexus Prime with the location marked in red. "If you're not there within the 12-hour window, we'll assume the mission is compromised." The 3 infiltrators nodded, understanding the gravity of their mission. Failure meant not just their deaths, but potentially the end of humanity itself. The journey to Nexus Prime took 3 days aboard a modified Cavaran vessel, disguised as a Trisarian diplomatic shuttle. They approached the massive artificial planetoid that served as the Galactic Council's headquarters, with a mix of awe and hatred. Nexus Prime was a marvel of engineering, a constructed world larger than Earth's moon, housing representatives from all 27 Council species. Its surface was covered with structures of impossible shapes, some defying gravity, others seeming to phase in and out of reality. "Trisarian vessel harmony, transmit identification codes," came the voice of traffic control. Gregory sent the stolen codes, and the 3 infiltrators held their breath. After a tense moment, the response came. "Codes accepted. Proceed to docking. Bay 17. They landed without incident and were processed through security by bored-looking officials who barely glanced at their documentation. The Council's arrogance worked in their favor. Who would dare to infiltrate the very heart of their power? "We're in," Natalie whispered, as they entered a vast atrium filled with aliens of dozens of species. "Ryan, which way to the administrative sector?" Ryan consulted the map they had memorized. 2 levels up, North Quadrant. That's where we can access a network terminal." They moved through the crowds, mimicking the distinctive gait of Trisarians. Years of studying council races helped them blend in, but they couldn't help noticing the casual conversations around them. Species that had condemned Earth to destruction going about their daily business without a second thought. In the administrative sector, Gregory found an empty office and locked the door. He connected to the terminal while Natalie stood guard and Ryan monitored his vital signs. The neural interface technology was dangerous. A power surge could fry his brain. "I'm in," Gregory said after a few minutes, his eyes unfocused as he navigated virtual systems. "There's something strange. A lot of secured files about a project called Crucible. Heavy encryption, high-level access only." "Is it the weapon?" Natalie asked. "Not sure, but it's getting massive resources. I'm going to try to access it." Ryan checked his monitoring device with concern. "Your neural load is spiking. Be careful." Gregory pushed deeper into the system, sweat beading on his blue-tinged forehead. Suddenly, his eyes widened. "Got it, oh God." "What is it?" Natalie demanded. "Earth wasn't destroyed because humans were unpredictable. It was because we were advancing too quickly." Gregory's voice shook. Several council species feared we would surpass them technologically within a century. They saw us as a threat to their dominance. "That's why they destroyed an entire planet? To eliminate competition?" Ryan asked, disgusted. "It gets worse," Gregory continued, navigating through more files. "They took thousands of humans before the attack. Specimens, they called them." He pointed to a section of data. "They're being held in a facility here on Nexus Prime, this Crucible place. They're using them for experiments." Natalie felt sick. "How many?" "At least 5,000. Men, women, children." The three infiltrators looked at each other, their mission suddenly changing. They had come to destroy a weapon and gather intelligence, but now they had discovered a horror none of them had imagined. "We need to tell the commander," Ryan said. "And we need to see this Crucible for ourselves," Natalie added. "Gregory, can you find its location?" "Already have it. Level 60, restricted section, heavy security." "Then we split up," Natalie decided. "Gregory, go to the network hub and plant the virus as planned. Ryan and I will investigate the Crucible. We'll meet at the extraction point." Gregory nodded, disconnecting from the terminal. "Be careful. If these experiments are as important as they seem, the security will be unlike anything we've trained for." The three parted ways, each with a new sense of urgency. Natalie and Ryan took a gravity lift to the lower levels, using their diplomatic credentials to pass through several checkpoints. The deeper they went, the more security increased. Armed guards, scan fields, identity verifiers. At a final checkpoint, a tall alien with crystalline skin blocked their path. "Identification and authorization," it demanded. Ryan presented, their credentials with practiced ease. "We're here for the quarterly biological assessment. Standard procedure." The guard hesitated, then checked something on a console. "No assessment is scheduled." Natalie tensed, ready to fight if necessary, but Ryan spoke smoothly. "Check again. Authorization code Sigma 93. The High Arbiter doesn't appreciate delays in his priority projects." The mention of the High Arbiter, the Council's supreme leader, made the guard nervous. It checked again, more carefully this time. "There appears to be a scheduling error. Proceed, but be quick." They passed through the final barrier and entered a sterile white corridor. Through windows along one side, they could see laboratories, where Council scientists worked on various projects. And in those labs were humans, pale, thin, subjected to procedures that made Natalie's blood boil. "We need to record this," she whispered, activating a hidden camera in her modified eye. "The commander needs to see what they're doing here." As they moved deeper into the facility, they found a central observation room overlooking a larger chamber. Inside were dozens of humans in transparent cells, each being monitored by complex equipment. "What are they doing to them?" Ryan wondered, examining the data on a nearby screen. "Looking for something in our biology," he realized after a moment. "Something unique to humans. They've been testing different environmental conditions, genetic modifications, even neural stimulation." Before they could investigate further, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. "Attention all personnel," came an announcement. "Security breach detected in Sector 7. All non-essential staff evacuate immediately. Security teams to your stations." "That's not for us," Ryan said. "Gregory must have been discovered." Natalie made a quick decision. We need to transmit what we found back to Haven now, before we lose the chance. Then we get to the extraction point. They found a communication terminal and connected their recording device. As the data began to transfer, the door to the observation room slid open. A tall, slender alien entered, clearly high-ranking, by its ornate garments. Its 6 eyes narrowed when it saw them. "You are not authorized for this section," it said, its voice cold. "Who are you?" Natalie reached for her concealed weapon, but the alien was faster. It pressed a device on its wrist, and a field of energy surrounded Natalie and Ryan, freezing them in place. "Intruders in the Crucible facility," the alien spoke into a communicator. "Send an Inquisitor immediately." The alien approached Natalie, studying her closely. "Your disguise is impressive, but your movements betray you. You're not Trazarian." It reached out and touched her face, its long fingers pressing painfully into her skin. "Let's see what you really are." The pressure increased, and Natalie felt her modified skin begin to tear. The genetic alterations were breaking down under the alien's touch, revealing her true human features beneath. The alien stepped back in shock. Impossible. A human? Here? Its expression changed from surprise to a cold smile. How fascinating. The specimens will be pleased to have new company. As security forces surrounded them, Natalie saw their data transmission complete just before the terminal shut down. Their cover was blown, but the information was out. Commander Pierce would know the truth, and the truth would bring the full fury of humanity down upon Nexus Prime. Commander Alan Pierce stared at the data transmission displayed on the main screen of Haven Base's command center. The images from Nexus Prime showed human captives in transparent cells, subjected to experiments that made his stomach turn. Beside him, Olivia Martinez and Marcus Johnson watched in horrified silence. 5,000 survivors, Alan whispered. "All this time, we thought they'd died with Earth. The last transmission from Lieutenant Chen was 12 hours ago," Marcus reported. "No word since then. We have to assume they've been captured." Alan's face hardened. "Then we move to the contingency plan immediately. Operation Thunderclap begins now." Alarms sounded throughout Haven Base. Within minutes, the hidden settlement transformed into a military launch point. Men and women who had spent 5 years preparing for this moment ran to their stations with grim determination. In the main hangar bay, 50 warships stood ready. They were smaller than Council vessels, but packed with advanced weaponry developed by combining Kavaran technology with human ingenuity. The flagship, appropriately named Vengeance, waited at the center of the formation. "All ships report ready for launch," Olivia said, now wearing the uniform of an admiral. She would lead the fleet while Alan coordinated the overall operation from Haven. "What about the Kavaran forces?" Alan asked. "Ambassador Zora confirms their ships are in position. Sleeper agents throughout Council space are standing by for the signal." Alan nodded. "And the Nemesis protocol?" Dr. Samantha Wright stepped forward holding a datapad. Despite Gregory's capture, the virus was successfully uploaded to the Council network. It's dormant now, waiting for our activation signal. "Then, there's no reason to wait." Alan faced his command team. "Our mission is clear. First, rescue our people from the Crucible facility. Second, disable the Council's weapon project. Third, make them answer for Earth." The command center fell silent. This was the moment they had worked toward for 5 years. The beginning of humanity's vengeance against those who had destroyed their world. "Send the signal," Alan ordered. "All ships launch. The diplomatic phase of this war is over." Across the galaxy, human and Kavaran agents received the coded message that activated their missions. On planets, space stations, and ships controlled by Council races, strategic targets suddenly lost power or exploded. Communication relays went dark. Defense shields failed. From Haven Base, the human fleet emerged from hiding like avenging spirits. With Olivia in command aboard the Vengeance, they set course for Nexus Prime at maximum speed. On Nexus Prime, Lieutenant Natalie Chen sat in a cell deep within the Crucible facility. Her Tresarian disguise had completely degraded, revealing her human features. In cells nearby, Gregory and Ryan were also being held, separated from each other and from the other human captives. A force field hummed across the entrance to her cell. Beyond it stood a tall, insect-like alien with gleaming black armor. This was an Inquisitor, one of the Council's elite security agents. "Your infiltration was impressive," the Inquisitor said, its voice clicking through a translator. "No non-Council species has ever breached our security. How did you do it?" Natalie remained silent following her training for capture situations. "Your companions are more cooperative," the Inquisitor continued. "The one called Gregory has told us about your base. Haven, I believe it's called." Natalie knew this was a lie. Gregory would never reveal such information no matter what they did to him. The Council believed humans were extinct save for these specimens. The Inquisitor gestured to the cells containing the original captives. "Clearly we were mistaken. Tell me, how many of you survived?" Again, Natalie said nothing. The Inquisitor's compound eyes gleamed. "It makes no difference. Once our new weapon is operational, all humans will be detected and eliminated. Your species represents an unacceptable evolutionary branch. Too adaptable, too aggressive." A door slid open behind the Inquisitor and another alien entered, taller, with scaled skin and multiple eyes. Natalie recognized this species from Council broadcasts. This was a Nalvaran, one of those who had destroyed Earth. "Supreme Arbiter, Silverax," the Inquisitor said with a deep bow. The Nalvaran approached Natalie's cell, studying her with cold curiosity. "So this is what caused such a commotion. A single human female. Hardly seems worth the security alert." "She was not alone, Supreme Arbiter. 2 others were captured with her, and they transmitted data back to their base before we caught them." "What data?" Silverax demanded. "Information about the Crucible project. They know we have human specimens." The Supreme Arbiter hissed in annoyance. "Double the guards on all critical systems. If there are more humans out there, they may attempt a rescue." He turned back to Natalie. "Though I can't imagine there are enough of your kind left to pose any real threat." As if in answer to his words, alarms began to blare throughout the facility. A voice announced over the communication system. "Unidentified fleet approaching Nexus Prime. All security forces to defense positions." The Inquisitor touched a device on its wrist. "Report. 50 unknown vessels have entered the Nexus system," came the reply. "They've already destroyed our outer defense platforms. More ships are appearing from hyperspace, Cavaran design." The Supreme Arbiter's eyes widened. "Cavarans? They were supposed to be extinct." "Sir," the voice continued, "the unknown ships are broadcasting a message on all frequencies." "Let me hear it," ordered Silverax. A new voice filled the room. Calm, determined, female. "This is Admiral Olivia Martinez of the human vessel Vengeance. To the Galactic Council. You destroyed our world and murdered billions of our people. You took thousands of us captive for your experiments. Today, humanity has come for justice. Release our people immediately or face the consequences." Silverax laughed, a harsh sound. "The arrogance. What can 50 ships do against the might of the Council? Our defense fleet has hundreds of vessels." The Inquisitor seemed less confident. "Supreme Arbiter, we should activate the Purifier, if there are more humans than we thought." "Yes, prepare the weapon," Silverax ordered. "These humans have saved us the trouble of hunting them down. They've delivered themselves to us." As they spoke, Natalie noticed something strange. The force field of her cell flickered briefly, then stabilized. Then it happened again. The Inquisitor and Supreme Arbiter focused on the crisis didn't see it. Throughout Nexus Prime, Council systems were beginning to fail as the Nemesis protocol virus activated. The signal from the approaching human fleet had triggered it, and now it was spreading through every connected network, causing subtle malfunctions that were quickly becoming major failures. In the command center of Nexus Prime, operators frantically reported problems across the station. Defense shields weakened, Weapon systems locked up. Communication between ships broke down. "What is happening?" demanded the defense minister, a bulky alien with armored skin. "Unknown, Minister," replied a technician. "Systems are failing across the grid. We're detecting a virus in the network, but our countermeasures can't isolate it." Outside, the human and Cavaran fleets engaged the Council defense forces. Despite being outnumbered, their ships moved with precision that the Council forces couldn't match. The Nemesis Protocol had compromised the Council's coordination systems, leaving their superior numbers in disarray. The Vengeance pushed through the battle toward Nexus Prime, its weapons clearing a path through the confused Council ships. On its bridge, Admiral Martinez directed the assault with cold efficiency. "Status of the Crucible facility?" she asked, her tactical officer. "Sensors show it's on level 60 of the central structure. Heavy security, but their systems are compromised by the virus." "What about our people?" "Life signs detected. At least 3,000 humans in the facility." Olivia's eyes widened. 3,000? The transmission only showed a few hundred. There appear to be multiple levels to the facility, many more captives than we thought. Olivia made a quick decision. "Launch the dropships. All Revenant teams deploy to the Crucible coordinates. Priority is rescuing our people." 20 smaller vessels detached from the main fleet, accelerating toward Nexus Prime. Each carried a team of Revenants, the enhanced human soldiers trained by Marcus Johnson and led by Catherine Alvarez. Back in Natalie's cell, the force field flickered again, then suddenly disappeared. The Inquisitor and Supreme Arbiter were too busy with emergency communications to notice immediately. By the time they turned back, Natalie had already slipped through the opening and grabbed a weapon from a nearby rack. "Human!" the Inquisitor shouted, reaching for its own weapon. Natalie fired first, striking the Inquisitor in the chest. It fell, but the Supreme Arbiter was faster, dodging her second shot and pressing an emergency button on the wall. "Security breach in detention block," Silverix called out. "The human prisoner is loose." Natalie didn't waste time on another shot. She ran down the corridor, checking cells as she went. In the third one, she found Gregory, looking weak but conscious. "About time," he said with a weak smile as she disabled his force field. "Can you walk?" she asked, helping him up. "I think so. Did you see Ryan?" "Not yet, but we've got bigger problems. The Supreme Arbiter is here, and he's activated something called the Purifier." Gregory's face paled. "That must be the weapon they were developing. We need to stop it." They found Ryan 2 cells down and freed him as well. Together, the 3 humans made their way through the Crucible facility, freeing other human captives as they went. Many were weak from years of experiments, but others were strong enough to take up weapons and join the escape. As they reached a large chamber filled with more cells, they heard the sound of explosions from above. The battle had reached Nexus Prime itself. "That's our people," Natalie said. "We need to get to an external communication terminal and let them know where we are." A group of Council security forces appeared at the far end of the chamber, weapons raised. Before they could fire, the ceiling exploded inward. Through the smoke and debris, armored figures dropped into the room, humans in advanced combat suits moving with enhanced speed and strength. The Revenants had arrived. At their head was Catherine Alvarez, her scarred face visible through her helmet visor. "Lieutenant Chen," she said with a nod of recognition. "Commander Pierce sends his regards. Let's get you and these people out of here." As the Revenants engaged the security forces, more dropships arrived, blasting holes in the Crucible facilities' outer walls. The rescued humans were quickly evacuated to these ships, which would take them to the safety of the Vengeance. "We can't leave yet," Natalie told Catherine. "The Supreme Arbiter has activated a weapon called the Purifier. If it's what we think it is, it could destroy any planet with humans on it." Catherine nodded grimly. "Show me where." The battle for humanity's survival had reached its climax. Outside, the Council fleet was in disarray, but on Nexus Prime, the final confrontation was just beginning. Deep inside Nexus Prime, in a chamber larger than any stadium on Earth, stood the Purifier. The massive device pulsed with energy, its core glowing with an eerie blue light. Supreme Arbiter Zilverax and a team of council technicians worked frantically to bring the weapon online. Power levels at 60%, reported a technician. Targeting systems initializing. Faster, ordered Zilverax. The humans must not be allowed to escape. The purifier was designed to send out a wave of energy that would target specific genetic markers. Once activated, it could sterilize entire star systems of any life form matching those markers. The Council had built it as the final solution to the human problem, a way to eliminate the species entirely no matter where they might hide. Meanwhile, Commander Alan Pierce had left Haven Base and arrived on Nexus Prime aboard a stealth shuttle. With him were Dr. Ryan Parker, who had been rescued from the Crucible, and a young boy named Daniel Grant. Daniel had been born in the Crucible, a child of human captives. The scientist's experiments had awakened something unexpected in him, powerful psychic abilities never before seen in humans. "This way," Daniel said quietly, leading them through service corridors rarely used by the Council. His mind could sense the presence of others, allowing them to avoid patrols. They reached a massive door marked with warning symbols in multiple alien languages. "The Council chamber is beyond this door," Alan said, "the heart of their government. And if I'm right, where we'll find the controls to the purifier." Ryan checked the small device in his hand. "Catherine and her team are approaching the purifier itself from the lower levels. Natalie and Gregory are with them. If we can't shut it down from here, they'll try to destroy it directly." "That's a last resort," Alan said. "The energy release could destroy half of Nexus Prime, including our people still being evacuated." Daniel placed his hand on the door, his eyes closing in concentration. The locking mechanism clicked and whirred, then the massive door slid open. The Council chamber was a vast amphitheater with hundreds of seats arranged in rising tiers. At its center was a circular platform where the Supreme Arbiter would normally stand to address the Council. Now the chamber was nearly empty, with only a few lower-ranking officials monitoring systems. They looked up in shock as Alan, Ryan, and Daniel entered. "Human intruders in the Council chamber," one called out, reaching for an alarm. Daniel raised his hand, and the alien froze in place, unable to move. "I can hold them," the boy said, strain evident in his voice. But not for long. Alan and Ryan moved quickly to the central platform, where a control console glowed with active displays. "This connects to all major systems," Ryan said, examining the alien technology, including the purifier, "but I can't read these controls." "Let me," Daniel said, approaching the console. He placed his hands on its surface and closed his eyes again. "I can see the patterns, feel the connections." The displays changed, showing a schematic of the purifier. Its power level had reached 80%. "Can you shut it down?" Alan asked. Daniel's brow furrowed in concentration. "They've locked it with multiple security protocols. I'm trying to bypass them, but..." The chamber doors burst open again. Supreme Arbiter Zilverax entered, flanked by a dozen armed guards. "Step away from the console," Zilverax ordered. "Your pathetic resistance ends now." Alan stepped forward, placing himself between the aliens and Daniel. "You destroyed our world, murdered billions of innocent people, experimented on survivors like they were animals, and you expect us to just accept that?" Zilverax's multiple eyes narrowed. "Your species was deemed a threat to galactic stability. The Council's decision was unanimous. Based on what? Fear? We never even knew you existed until you attacked us." "Based on history," Zilverax replied coldly. "The Council has existed for 50,000 years. In that time, we have encountered many species like yours. Aggressive, adaptable, expanding too quickly. Everyone became a threat." While they spoke, Daniel continued working on the console, his young face intense with concentration. "So you just destroy any species that might one day challenge you?" Alan asked, keeping the Supreme Arbiter's attention on him. "We preserve the balance, ensure the survival of civilization." Zilverax gestured to his guards. "Enough talk. The purifier is nearly ready. Soon humans will be nothing but a memory." The guards raised their weapons. At that moment, explosions shook the chamber as part of the ceiling collapsed. Through the gap dropped Catherine Alvarez and her revenants, followed by Natalie Chen and Gregory Walsh. "Sorry we're late," Catherine said, her enhanced strength allowing her to throw a council guard across the room. "Had to take the scenic route." A fierce battle erupted in the council chamber. The revenants, with their enhanced abilities, moved like blurs among the guards. Natalie and Gregory fought their way to Alan's side. "The evacuation is almost complete," Natalie reported. "Most of our people are safely aboard the Vengeance, but the council fleet is regrouping. Admiral Martinez can't hold them off much longer." Across the chamber, Catherine grappled with Zilverax. Despite her enhancements, the Supreme Arbiter was a formidable opponent. His scaled skin deflected her blows, and his multiple limbs struck with surprising speed. "I have it!" Daniel suddenly shouted. The console displays flickered, then changed. "I've broken through their security." "Shut down the purifier," Alan ordered. Daniel shook his head. "I can't deactivate it directly, but I can redirect its energy." Silverax, hearing this, roared in anger. He threw Catherine aside and lunged toward the console. "You will not interfere with the council's judgment." Alan intercepted him, the two leaders clashing in the center of the chamber. Silverax's superior strength forced Alan back step by step. "Your species is finished," the Supreme Arbiter hissed. "As are all who allied with you." Alan fought with everything he had, but he was only human, facing an alien evolved for combat. Silverax knocked him to the ground and raised a clawed hand for the killing blow. Before it could fall, Daniel stepped between them. His eyes now glowed with the same blue energy as the purifier's core. "Enough," the boy said, his voice echoing strangely. He placed his hands on Silverax's head. The Supreme Arbiter screamed. His body convulsed as Daniel established a psychic link, forcing the alien to experience the destruction of Earth from the perspective of its victims. The terror, pain, and loss of billions of humans flooded into Silverax's mind. One by one, Daniel connected with the other council officials in the chamber, making them feel what humanity had suffered. Many collapsed, overwhelmed by the psychic assault. "The purifier is ready," Gregory called from the console. "Power at maximum. What's your plan, Daniel?" The boy turned, his glowing eyes fixing on the displays. "The council built this weapon to destroy specific genetic patterns. I've reconfigured it to target their network instead. Every system, every ship, every weapon connected to the council grid. That would cripple their entire civilization," Natalie realized. "No," Alan said, rising to his feet. "We're not like them. We don't destroy entire civilizations out of fear." He looked at Daniel. "Target their military systems only, their weapons, their warships. Nothing more." Daniel nodded and adjusted the controls. "Ready. Do it," Alan ordered. Energy surged through Nexus Prime as the purifier activated. But instead of spreading outward to destroy human life, it flowed into the Council's own systems. Throughout the galaxy, Council warships suddenly lost power. Defense systems failed. Weapon platforms went dark. In the command center of the Vengeance, Admiral Olivia Martinez watched in amazement as the Council fleet drifted helplessly. "What's happening?" she asked her tactical officer. "Unknown, Admiral, but all Council military systems are failing simultaneously. They're completely vulnerable." Olivia made a quick decision. "All ships hold fire, maintain positions but do not attack disabled vessels." She opened a communication channel. "Commander Pierce, please respond." Back in the Council chamber, Alan received her message. "We're here, Admiral. The Council's military capability has been neutralized. The purifier has been repurposed." "What are your orders, sir?" Alan looked at Silverax, who knelt on the floor, still shaking from the psychic experience Daniel had forced upon him. The once proud Supreme Arbiter now understood, truly understood, what his decision had cost humanity. "The evacuation is complete? All our people are safe?" "Yes, Commander. All 3,427 survivors from the Crucible are aboard our ships." Alan took a deep breath. "Then it's time to end this. Prepare to receive us. We're bringing guests." 12 hours later, In the same council chamber, representatives from all 27 council species gathered. Many were still in shock from the sudden reversal of power. Others were angry, demanding retribution against the humans who had humbled their mighty civilization. Alan Pierce stood on the central platform where Zilverix had once proclaimed judgments. Beside him were Natalie, Gregory, Ryan, Catherine, and Daniel. On nearby platforms stood Olivia Martinez, Marcus Johnson, Samantha Wright, and Ambassador Zora of the Caverans. The Galactic Council has existed for 50,000 years, Alan began, his voice carrying throughout the chamber. In that time, you have appointed yourselves the judges of all other species. You have destroyed countless civilizations out of fear of what they might become. Murmurs rose from the assembled aliens, but none dared interrupt. Today, that ends. Earth is gone, but humanity survives. We could destroy you, as you tried to destroy us. Alan gestured to the disabled purifier. Instead, we choose a different path. He turned to face the representatives directly. The council will be reformed. No longer will a few species decide the fate of others. All voices will be heard. All will have equal rights and protection. From the crowd, a council elder spoke up. And if we refuse? Alan smiled grimly. The choice is simple. Accept these terms, or we will use your own weapons to ensure you can never threaten another species again. The representatives looked at each other, then at the humans who had brought their mighty civilization to its knees in a single day. One by one, they signaled their acceptance. 5 years later, Alan stood on the observation deck of a new station orbiting a blue-green planet. Earth's restoration had begun, a massive project using advanced technology to rebuild the planet molecule by molecule. It would take generations to complete, but already the oceans were returning, and the atmosphere was clearing. Beside him stood Daniel, now a teenager and a key figure in the new galactic alliance that had replaced the Council. His unique abilities had proven invaluable in bridging understanding between species that had once been enemies. "Do you think we did the right thing?" Daniel asked. "Sparing them after what they did to us?" Alan looked out at the partially restored Earth. Vengeance wasn't what we needed in the end. Justice was, and a chance to build something better. In the years since the Battle of Nexus Prime, humanity had flourished. The survivors from Haven Base and the Crucible had established new colonies, on worlds provided by the Alliance. Human innovation, combined with alien technology, was solving problems that had plagued the galaxy for millennia. They feared what we might become, Alan said. Maybe now they understand that their fear was what created the very threat they tried to prevent. Below them, the first green shoots were appearing on Earth's surface, the beginning of new forests that would one day cover the restored continents. It wasn't the same Earth they had lost, but it was a symbol of humanity's resilience. The vengeance they had sought had transformed into something more powerful, a new beginning, not just for humanity, but for all species in the galaxy. Earth's destruction had nearly been the end of human history. Instead, it had become just the first chapter in a much greater story.